provide something for smaller libraries in general, but also smaller libraries in Connecticut. We definitely wanted to connect with more Connecticut libraries. That was kind of a tongue twister, but so the big thing is, so we put together a package of products for smaller libraries, and we put together a special pricing package to make those resources a bit more accessible for you. Because one of the things we noticed was that the value was there, but legitimately the budget just wasn't going to work, which I'm sure you all deal with day to day. But the good thing about this program is that these aren't introductory prices. These aren't introductory or cheapened products. These are the full production products that, you know, a library with a population served of 300,000 would get as well. So you're not losing any value or losing any functionality with any of the resources that we cover today. And so, yeah, we'll just a quick note about that as well. We're only covering 5 resources today. This is the second presentation we did. Last year, we were kind of running by the skin of our teeth because we tried to cover like 12 resources in an hour. And so that did not work out as well as I thought it was going to. So this time, we're going to tighten it up. We're just going to do 5. The way we're breaking it up, so over the past year, I talked with a good amount of Connecticut libraries. Maybe even some of you on the call have gotten an email from me. I can't remember, but we're going to cover 2 of the most popular resources that I noticed kind of got the most interest, even if people didn't buy them. Those are going to be Miss Humblebee's Academy and our Gale Presents Peterson's Test and Career Prep. And then we're going to talk about one of the new additions. So this one is a quick disclaimer, is coming soon. So we still have some things to work out on our end with COC and Gale, but coming soon is going to be our passenger and immigration list index. So that's going to be a genealogy resource. Also has been getting a lot of interest just across the country at large. And then we're going to jump into a couple resources that are, you know, I think are really valuable, and we did get some traction with them, but I want to make sure that you all are aware of them and how they might be able to fit into your program. So that's going to be our ebook subscription and Demographics Now, which is a business platform. So before jumping ahead, a couple quick notes about kind of the pricing that I had mentioned over the last year. We actually had an average savings of $5,830.20 per sale. And then the average percentage off, the average percentage saved was 70%. So it was just over 70%. So that is taking into account the differences in library size as well. So maximum is 50,000 population served. And then there's some different stratification. So there's several levels within that. But across those levels, you're going to be looking at roughly 70% off in a lot of cases on the pricing. So we aren't going to talk about pricing today. Reach out to me if you're interested in any of these resources or some other documentation as well. But with that being said, I got to check my notes to make sure I covered everything. We're good. So let's jump right into the product presentations with Muna covering Miss Humblebee's Academy.
Thank you, Cindy, and hello, everybody. So I'll share my screen and then just ask for a check to make sure everybody can see my screen, first of all, in the right mode. Okay, great. Yeah. Thank you so much. So today I will cover an overview of Miss Humblebee's Academy. For those of you who are not familiar with the resource, I'll give a quick overview of the resource, its objectives in terms of learning objectives for individual users, the available options for caregivers, parents, teachers, etc. But most of the time, I will focus on the recent enhancements. I think Cindy alluded to this earlier. Miss Humblebee's Academy has undergone significant changes to the interface and has also added a lot of new content over the past year. So feel free to interrupt me if there are any questions. And then I'll also be sharing this presentation after our meeting with an appendix for additional details as well. So Ms. Humphrey's Academy is an interactive learning solution and a supplementary curriculum that focuses on children aged 3 to 6 for kindergarten preparedness and beyond. This resource delivers an educational program that focuses on many key subjects, including math, science, social studies, language and literacy, social and emotional learning, fitness and music. And in terms of the subject areas, I want to note that social and emotional learning and fitness are new to the resource. We'll delve into that shortly. But this provides a holistic curriculum for those children ages 3 to 6 to prepare them for kindergarten preparedness as they move into the K through 5 program. It is also a supplementary curriculum and is also versatile enough to be used at home or in the library as well. So this is a resource that is very holistic, all-encompassing, and can be used for various purposes. The resource has several guided lessons and accompanying assessments. So there are hundreds of thematic-based guided lessons with sound cues to support various learning styles. So as the end users, the children navigate through the lessons, they will be accompanied by sound cues to help them understand the content, help them understand the subject areas, the specific themes as well. There are customizable lesson plans and assessments. When a new account is created for an end user, a caregiver creates a new account for an end user. There's an assessment at the beginning, which helps them understand where they are in terms of the curriculum, where they are in terms of milestones for kindergarten preparedness. There are progress reports that which can be emailed to parents or caregivers regularly. And there's also usage reports for libraries. These usage reports are very detailed. They go beyond the typical search and retrieve metrics you might be used to for a research database. They include the monitors that are used, including desktop, mobile. They include things like the lessons that are completed for individual end users. So you get a sense of outcomes and you get a sense of objectives achieved for users at the aggregate level. Now, this resource is available online in the library. So end users, children and their caregivers can go in the library, use them at desktop devices. They're also available, this resource is also available at home through multiple devices, including mobile devices as well. We've actually enhanced the mobile device experience, made it a little more versatile. So this includes iPads, tablets, and smartphones. I should also note that in the curriculum, there is dashboard options that are offline. That includes the curriculum that is available through worksheets, DIY activities, and this helps end users meet recommendations in terms of off-screen activities. So this is an online resource. However, in line with recommendations in terms of off-screen activities, offline activities, we do offer a number of lessons through the printable materials. So this is important to note, given that there are recommendations in terms of on-screen time through iPads, tablets, smartphones, desktop devices, etc. And the curriculum is aligned with several standards, including the U.S. Department of Education, Head Start, and Common Core. Now, in terms of outcomes and desired impact, from the perspective of the patrons, in particular the end users who are typically ages 3 and up, this helps prepare preschoolers for kindergarten proficiency through cognitive and emotional skill building. So there's specific milestones, objectives that are part of the curriculum. So you'll see that in the offline dashboard activities. If you're a caregiver, you'll see this progress as you're moving through the curriculum as well. And the intended objective is to set the learner on a path for lifelong academic success. So you'll see this specifically through the end user experience as you're moving through the program. You'll see the lessons that are completed. You'll see how it's aligned with specific subject areas. From the perspective of the caregiver, the parent, the teacher, etc., you'll see in the dashboard alignment in terms of checklists, in terms of understanding milestones, in terms of understanding kindergarten proficiency, and I'll cover that shortly as well. And then from the perspective of a library, particularly in the community, through things like the usage reports, through understanding the objectives that are completed, through navigating lesson plans, through understanding general trends around proficiency at the kindergarten level, this allows libraries, such as your libraries, to demonstrate impact by helping people, whether it be caregivers, the children who take the lessons, improve their lives. So this was acute before the pandemic. Access to pre-K programs, unfortunately, is not readily available in our society. So there are a lot of studies that focus on this in terms of access to pre-K programs. In the pandemic, this has become particularly acute. We have seen usage of Ms. Humblebee's Academy go up, particularly because of access to the library, access available offline. And this has become a very good conduit for parents who have been focusing on remote learning for their children. So we've seen this reflected through the usage specifically from Ms. Humblebee's Academy. And so this need was always there before the pandemic. It's become particularly acute during the pandemic. So this resource provides equity of access for all in the community, not just those who have availability towards pre-K programs, and it helps break the cycle of illiteracy given the focus on learning objectives and kindergarten preparedness. So I'll just delve into this very quickly. So we define kindergarten readiness in terms of the definition set forth by the Department of Education Early Learning Challenge. There are 5 essential domains: language and literacy development, cognition and general knowledge, approaches towards learning, physical well-being and motor development, including adaptive skills, and social and emotional development. So we're going to delve into the recent enhancements. So these are very exciting changes to the interface and new content that's been added to the resource in the past year to help enhance the curriculum, and also has met a lot of feedback that has been brought towards us and our partner for this particular resource. So this includes a new subject area and new content in terms of social and emotional learning. This is a collection of nearly 100 online lessons and offline extension activities to help children learn how to regulate their emotions, develop self-confidence, and more. This includes animation, video, songs, ebooks, for the online experience, and then the offline activities as well. So on the right-hand side here, we have a video that is part of the SEL content that is now in the resource. We also have teacher-led tutorials. These are short video lessons delivered by teachers that address the key kindergarten readiness skills and all subject areas, including SEL. We also have a personalized learning path. So there are multiple learning paths in the resource that includes a guided learning path, choose a lesson path where end users can choose specific lessons, but we're also including the caregiver and the experience here. Through the personalized learning path, you can select the specific lessons, you can select the specific objectives, subject areas for the individual end users, for the individual children, particularly if you want to focus on specific subjects and themes that align with your with the child's development. So there's multiple ways to access the curriculum, and a new one, and an important one for caregivers, is the personalized learning path. Alongside that, in the dashboard where we have the offline activities, the materials for the caregivers, we've added an interactive kindergarten readiness and development checklist. So this helps the caregivers understand how the milestones are achieved, if the end user, the children, is achieving these milestones, and helps them understand the development path towards kindergarten readiness. So there's a lot of dashboard options for caregivers to be involved, to curate the curriculum, to understand development milestones, and the interactive kindergarten readiness and development checklist is a new option in the dashboard. We also have a new subject area called BFit. These are short on-demand videos and printable materials to encourage kids to get moving as part of the healthy lifestyle. This is also a component that helps introduce interactive fitness activities throughout the lesson plans and the curriculum. So alongside art, music, science, social emotional learning, there's also an activity component to help kids become interactive through fitness and provides natural breaks throughout their learning. And then we have ongoing additions to the content, in particular over the past year, ongoing additions to math, language, and literacy lessons. So this is an overview of the new content that is in the resource. In addition, we have enhanced the navigational experience, enhanced the interface for a more optimal user experience. This includes changes to the primary navigation. So when you access the classroom in Simultaneous Academy, you will see the learning paths all listed here initially. And you will also see the specific subject areas as well. So there are many different ways for the end users to access the content and many different ways for the caregiver to navigate the users towards a specific learning path if it's customized, or a curriculum learning path that is based on the easiest lessons gradually progressing to the hardest lessons and completing the curriculum overall. And then this new enhancement here is very exciting. The interface thumbnails and navigation can be translated into Spanish as well. So for caregivers who speak Spanish as a first language, there's an option to navigate the content and help the end users reach the materials, the navigation, thumbnails that is available in Spanish. And there's a question about the content being available in Spanish or other languages. That's a great question. Much of the curriculum and the dashboard and the offline materials can be translated into multiple languages, including Spanish. This is done through the Google Translate feature. We are exploring potential enhancements in terms of adding content in the classroom in Spanish. At this time, however, the thumbnails and the navigation can be translated into Spanish, as well as much of the curriculum, which is available offline in the dashboard. That's a great question, thank you. And that actually reaches the end of my presentation. So I do want to share some support resources to help you socialize Miss Humbly's Academy with patrons overall. They can be available through www.support.gale.com. This includes press release templates. This includes blogs. This includes icons. This includes widgets. So please enter your location ID, which is your customized library ID, at support.gale.com. And then if you have any questions, if there's any feedback, we've added a lot of enhancement over the past year based on feedback, feel free to send that. My email is muna.sharif@cengage.com. And with that, are there any questions?
It doesn't look like it. If there are any, you can type those in the chat. Thanks, Muna. That was awesome. So a quick note that while Kristen is getting her screen ready, Muna, you can just hop off sharing. Muna actually brought up a really good point that I wanted to mention, but I forgot about. As a customer, you have access to our support site. So that link, support.gale.com. If you currently have resources from us, go there. There's tons of good resources there. So that's part of our kind of whole sphere of support for you. And you'll also kind of get some contact from our customer success managers as well upon making new purchases, but you can also reach out to them if you have questions about usage or just need some ideas about increasing utilization or marketing. Those are resources for you as well as a Gale customer, and I'll have that contact information for anybody who's interested. But now on to Kristen.
Thanks, Sydney. And just want to make sure my slide's visible. Looks good. All right. Hi, everyone. Thanks for your time today. My name is Kristen Foost. I'm a senior product manager at Gale and excited to review our Gale Presents Peterson's Test and Career Prep with you today. Gale Presents Peterson's Test and Career Prep is a test preparation database that connects your patrons with more than 350 practice tests across varying subject areas. Topics range from advanced placement courses, ACT and SAT tests, to high school equivalency exams, or more specialized career certifications. This product has a focus on college and career readiness, but the resource also includes tools like college and scholarship searches and a resume creator to help job seekers prepare for entering or advancing in the workforce. Although Gale Presents Peterson's Test and Career Prep meets a number of different needs, the primary focus is on test prep. The product features timed practice tests, that help students prepare for taking any standardized exams. Users are able to retake these exams as many times as they'd like, and they can compare their scores over time to track their continued progress. One motivation for getting higher test scores is often college acceptance. To help those considering secondary education, Peterson's Test and Career Prep includes a number of specialized school searches, including searches for undergraduate and graduate programs, as well as vocational and technical schools, career colleges, distance learning programs, and more. And then in addition to test prep, the resource also contains a number of career tools in support of workforce development. These include a resume tool, personalized career assessments and recommendations, a job search tool, and a career advice library that offers best practices and advice for entering or navigating the workforce. One of the great things about Peterson's Test and Career Prep is that it serves a wide variety of users, from middle or high school students to military veterans or adults seeking citizenship. One of the primary audiences served is high school students or learners pursuing college credits or equivalency degrees. In addition to this focus on college prep, the resource also caters to users preparing for graduate school entrance exams, career certifications, or military advancement opportunities. There are also basic skills question banks, which contain thousands of practice questions organized by grade level, starting at 6th grade. And these offer further support in the areas of reading, writing, math, science, technology, and engineering, as well as Microsoft Office video tutorials. Especially now with so many people still grappling with remote working and learning, Gale presents Peterson's Test and Career Prep ensures that your patrons have 24/7 access to this valuable test prep content. The product is accessible from anywhere and is optimized for use on mobile devices. Peterson's Test and Career Prep also features individual user accounts, which allows your patrons to save any work, pause and resume tests at their convenience, and customize their homepage for quick access to their most used practice tests. If your library has been using print test prep materials, which often take up a lot of physical space and can have a short shelf life due to frequent use, this resource helps supplement those by including ebooks alongside the practice exams. These ebooks can be downloaded by users as DRM-free PDF files, which grants them ongoing or offline access to necessary test prep. Most of the ebooks contain additional practice tests. The value of offering this type of resource through the library is that it can help reduce any personal costs within your community. Test prep tutors and courses are expensive, and these types of services are often cost prohibitive to many learners. But making Peterson's Test and Career Prep available through the library helps provide that equity of access to these important materials. And speaking of financial savings, Peterson's Test and Career Prep includes a scholarship search tool that indexes more than 2 million active scholarships and private aid opportunities, totaling approximately $10 billion in potential aid. As we all continue to wonder what turns our economy will take in these current circumstances, with Peterson's Test and Career Prep, you can feel confident that you're helping provide your patrons with upskilling tools to enhance their workforce opportunity. The resource includes a number of practice tests and study aids. Oops, sorry about that. Jumped ahead. There we go. Sorry about that. It includes practice tests and study aids to help support patrons who are pursuing career certification or college credit. The school search tools help those patrons discover any career and college programs that might be of interest. And a career advice library offers self-paced tutorials that provide advice and best practices on applying for jobs, interviewing, writing resumes and cover letters, and more. To help further support your job seekers, the career component of Gale Presents Peterson's Test and Career Prep extends the career support offered within this resource. This module, provided through an integration with Pathway U, helps your patrons discover career opportunities that they might be well suited for through a number of personalized career assessments. The results of these assessments are utilized to generate career recommendations that are geared toward your users' interests and skills. Patrons can then opt to learn more about these careers, including the job's outlook, salary, education requirements, and more. It can also search for active job postings through an integration with Indeed.com, with the option to limit these search results to jobs that are a match for them based on their assessments. The Visual CV Resume Creator, another integration, is a visual resume editor that helps users craft professional resumes through the use of pre-built templates and resume samples. Resumes are really easy to customize, and your users can even create personalized websites that can then be sent to prospective employers. By providing Peterson's Test and Career Prep to your patrons, you're helping them not only obtain access to these valuable test prep materials, but you're helping them build the confidence and knowledge that will prepare them for their actual testing day. Aside from the time practice tests, the resource features helpful articles and suggestions that help users develop positive test-taking strategies. The inclusion of a college planning center also offers grade-level checklists for both students and their caregivers to help them navigate the process of considering applying for and transitioning to college. Outside of the resource, Gale's support site includes a number of training and promotional materials. Support materials include direct links to each of the subject hub pages within the resource so that you can link or promote the specific tests or tools that are of most interest to your patrons. Peterson's Test and Career Prep is also part of a suite of test and career prep resources in partnership with Gale and Peterson's. So while the combined resource gives you your best offer, CLC members can also choose to focus only on the test prep component or only on the career prep component. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks,
Is there
Kristen.
any questions?
See any. Thanks, Kristen, for the presentation. Tara, whenever you're ready to fire up your slides. A quick note, so those two were the more popular ones that out of the conversations that I had over the last year. With COVID-19, it's kind of obvious why. Preschools are closed, people have been laid off or furloughed, and kids still need to practice for the SAT and ACT. So those were really popular. For more information, or if you want to check out a demo or anything like that, you can always reach out. But looks like Tara is ready to go. So I'll pass the mic over. Talk about Peely. Another quick disclaimer on this one. Again, we're waiting to, this is coming soon. So we still have some things on our end, but if you are interested, definitely let me or Jen know, and we'll keep you in the loop in terms of when this is ready to move forward.
Oh. Okay, this is going to be, can everyone see my screen, first of all?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. This is going to be a brief demo of the Passenger and Immigration List Index. From now on out in the presentation, I'm going to call it Peely because that's a mouthful. I only have a handful of really brief slides, and then I'd like to actually demo the product real quickly if that's acceptable to everyone, because I think that shows what the product can do. So what the Passenger and Immigration Index is, it's a series that we actually started publishing in print in 1981. And at that time, if you were interested in genealogy and family history research, your only recourse was print products and physically writing letters to libraries and gathering this content. And so for the last 40 years, we've amassed more than 5 million names of individuals who have come to use the term the New World to represent any area, North America, South America, that currently is in North America and South America. Geographic names of places and boundaries blur all the time. So these are people who came to what's now the United States, what's now the countries in South America, Canada, and even some of the islands, British West Indies, British Virgin Islands, Jamaica, places like that. So we've got 5 million person names, and we've got them all now consolidated into one place that's electronic product that's now available as a subscription through the GDL platform. So before, libraries were getting an annual print product, and you may have some in some of your libraries, and you would get 150,000 persons that immigrated, where they came from, when they came, where, how old they were, that type of information. Well, now all that 40 years of content is in one spot that you can search electronically. So we allow users to search more than 5 million persons from more than 75 countries across the world. They came into more than 200 ports in the areas that we know are North and South America. And I would take a bet that all of us on this Zoom right now at some point had folks who are listed in Pili who came into one of these 200, more than 200 ports. What's important about this passenger and immigration list index, it provides a very simple, user-friendly interface for those who are new to genealogy research. What we hear the most and what we have heard the most from librarians, public librarians in most cases, is that they have a large patron population that is very interested in genealogy and family history research, but they don't know where to start. So we took our content that is focused on immigration and naturalization, and we digitized it and put it into one place that's got a very, very simple search and user interface. What we also found out from the many, many librarians that we talked to when creating this product was that some other genealogy products have so much information that the users are just completely overwhelmed when they sit down in the library, and that the librarians themselves, unfortunately, don't have the time to sit down and work individually with each patron as they're trying to build their family tree and start their genealogy journey. So one of the things that's built into this product is you can have a very, very simple export functionality where you can choose records that you're interested in. You can literally email them to yourself. If you're more high tech, you can download them to a Google Drive, a Microsoft OneDrive, or in some cases, you can even save them locally if you've got a flash drive. What we heard from librarians, again, in the public market was that you had folks walking into a library who didn't have a computer of their own, were very low tech, and I don't mean that in a bad way by any means. Some older patrons, and then you had some that were more tech savvy, and so a Google Drive or a Microsoft OneDrive saving content there was easy for them. But we've also designed it so you can literally print out that information and take it with you. Okay, so I'm going to switch over real quick, and I'm going to do a real brief demo. This right here is what one of the main screens is going to look like once we get into the product. Can everyone see my screen still? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm actually in the Gale directory library right now. I did not start on the landing page. One thing I want to point out is depending on what your library subscribes to, you may or may not have this many products to choose from. I'm coming in through the production site because I work at Gale, so I have every single product. So what you would want to do if you were a user is you would scroll down, and maybe you only have 4 or 5 products, so the list won't be as long. And you want to specifically pick the passenger and immigration list index. The Gale directory library, a lot of the directories are made to search at the same time if you're looking for content in many different databases. In this case, we're going to just search the Pili content. The search functionality is very, very easy. As you can see, we can just use a name. This is one of the men who came over on the Mayflower. We can just search him in basic search, which is in any word in text. So if we search for William Brewster, we're coming up with 7 different results. So if this is your ancestor, some people know the name of an ancestor. That's where you would need to start, or even a guess of a name. If you notice here, we have 7 results for a name William Brewster. It's important to note that the Peely database contains a little more than 5 million people names. It's estimated that more than 45 million people have emigrated into North and South America over the last 500 years. So we don't have everyone who came. In fact, the United States itself did not put parameters and really did not closely track immigration until the 1820s. So you have 250, 300 years of building immigration that wasn't specifically tracked and documented until the 1820s. So for example, if you know your ancestor is William Brewster and you're pretty sure that he came before 1700, we have the date of arrival field right here. These are probably not your William Brewster. So what we can do is you can go back very easily and narrow the search. So we're going to look for William Brewster again, but we're going to narrow the search, and you can use a range of arrival years. And all you would have to do here is change your drop down to arrival year. So again, you're looking for William Brewster, you're looking for a particular range of arrival year, and then you're searching. So if you see now, you've got a smaller list. I think we have 5 results. One of the things I want to point out here is see this old Lucretia Oldham. Because Peely is a very simple any word in text search, because this person named Lucretia Oldham exists in a William Brewster entry is why you are seeing her in this results list. And the reason is we wanted to make sure that users, if you were looking for a great grandmother and you knew her name, but she didn't have her own specific entry, but she was mentioned in your second great grandfather's entry, that she would show up in the list. So if we pick William Brewster right here, this is an example of what a record would look like. Because this person came on the Mayflower, there is a large amount of information on this person. This is an area of history that has been documented over and over and over. And so not every entry that you see will be this fleshed out. We only can input the content we get from the historical source. But in this case, just to go through some of the data elements, we gather different variants of the person names. That's very important, especially because a lot of older historical sources were handwritten. And so they've been scanned and they've been translated by optical scanners. And sometimes you get spelling differences. But then in a lot of cases, you get people who were handwriting immigrants' names as they were coming off of ships, and there were language barriers, and some people weren't literate in their language. They weren't literate in their language or English, so you have a lot of variations in the person's name, and we want to capture all those variations. He was 53 when he came. He came from England. Now, the country of origin is the country that they are actually from, not the country they departed from. Later on in the 1700s and 1800s and 1900s, you find thousands and thousands and thousands of people who are sailing from Bremen, Germany, or London, England, or Havre, Grace, or Havre, Grace, France, to the New World. That doesn't mean they're actually from locations. He was on the Mayflower. He arrived in Plymouth, Massachusetts. This is a range of arrival years. In a lot of cases, you have people who, you see a lot of historical sources because documentation isn't very always completely exact. You have kind of a range of years. Some people say they came in the 1620s. Some sources say they came in the 1630s. So this almost can be seen as a range. You then have all the dependents, all the people that came with them. Now, what's interesting to note here is, if you see here, you have two Lucretia Brewsters. You have a child and a daughter-in-law. Again, this content genealogy, I always say, is a puzzle, and content is not perfect. We take the historical content we have, we input it in. He may have had a child named Lucretia Brewster, and he may have had a daughter-in-law, or there could have been some discrepancies in one of the historical sources. So it's a picture. But what the best part of Peely, I think, is these are all of the sources that we cited information about this person named Brewster. So because this man was on the Mayflower, you have a large list of different, in most cases, print sources that your patron could look up if they chose so. And we do not link to these sources, so this is not a product that will actually give you a link to page 35 of the historical document that we found the information. It's just an index. But also here are the abilities. You can download this for yourself, as I think you can literally download a PDF, print it out, take it with you, email it to yourself. It's a really great resource for patrons who are looking to start their family tree and their genealogy journey. I know that Sales provides free trials. I also would be more than happy to do individual product demos for libraries or group of your libraries. There's so much information. Genealogy is so rich that it's hard to give a real thorough demo in a short amount of time. That's what I have for right now. Are there any questions?
All right, cool. Thank you. Thanks, Tara. That was really cool. Another resource that's getting a little bit more popular. Slight change to the programming. We'll have Angela go next, covering demographics now. So this is a real cool business research tool.
Just a minute.
Sorry, I gotta stop my share. Sorry.
Oh,
That's the problem.
not to worry, not to worry.
Okay.
I'm just trying to make sure I'm sharing the right screen here.
Okay, you should be all set, Angela.
Okay. So let's try this. Come on, slideshow, come back. Like that. Resume. Well, geez. Let's see. Let's try down here. Is it like that? Can you let me try sharing a different screen. Sorry about that, everybody.
No problem. It might be because you're clicked into the slide.
Do you think that's why? I've got two screens here going, so I wonder if, let's see. I've got to share. Let me try my second screen. You can see the Cengage logo when I bring this up. How's that?
Perfect.
Does that work? Okay, super. All right. Thanks for bearing with me, everyone. I'm Angela Doolin. I'm the Senior Product Manager of a few different areas. One of them is small business. And I'm going to be talking very briefly about Gale Business Demographics Now today. We did a detailed dive last year, and so today is going to be pretty high level. So, just really quick, Gale Business Demographics Now is one of the pillars of our small business suite. It's a market research tool, very detailed, and it's designed for entrepreneurs or founders in your community.
It contains a wealth of data in a pretty easy to consume format, and it includes a broad array of data. One of those areas of data is directory listings. So we have directory listings for more than 155 million households, 30 million businesses, and new this year, new actually just a few months ago, 1.7 million US nonprofits. And the reason why entrepreneurs in your community might be interested in these directory listings is that they are helpful for benchmarking sales performance, finding and evaluating competitors, locating maybe a small number of sales leads in the community. If it's a nonprofit, maybe finding other organizations to partner with, and then identifying small businesses that are owned by women, minorities, green certified small businesses, and veteran owned enterprises. It also includes an incredible aggregation of demographic and consumer data and reports that allow you to compare the characteristics of up to 15 geographic areas. And these geographic areas can be as big as states or as small as a census block group, which is basically like a neighborhood. It also includes things like zip codes, cities, school districts. So you can really get in there and do these granular comparisons. And not only does demographics now include all this demographic data and consumer spending data, but it also covers characteristics that are traditionally more difficult to measure. Things like attitudes, behaviors, someone's comfort with technology, channel preferences, and more through experience Mosaic segmentation. So if you're not familiar with mosaics, they're these consumer segments. There are 71 of them. They've got these great names like Jet Set Urbanites and Ambitious Dreamers. And they offer an engaging way to learn about existing or potential customer segments. And then in addition to all this data, demographics now includes an array of analysis tools that help users make sense of the data that they're seeing. Mapping capabilities let them create heat maps from thousands of variables, things like income, educational attainment, how much people spend on groceries in a given year. And it can also let them see traffic counts at different intersections to help entrepreneurs see where a business might get the most visibility. And the customer analysis tool in demographics now lets business owners upload their customer data, just name, address, to get their demographic data and consumer segmentations. So really a deep and robust tool, something that your patrons would normally have to pay a lot of money to get on their own. So really quickly, some outcomes for your patrons. And in particular, I'm thinking, again, those aspiring entrepreneurs who are going to contribute to your community and workforce development in your area. It helps them evaluate risk, learn about potential customers, size a market, to figure out, is there demand for my product or service, provide evidence for a business plan, loan, or investor pitch. For existing entrepreneurs, so people who run businesses in your company, in your community now, helps them find and reach people who they have not already perhaps sold or marketed to. Forecast trends, so Demo Now does modeling data, goes all the way into 2025 at the moment, 5 years into the future, and then analyze market shifts. And then outcomes for your library. Again, you're providing access to this very expensive data. Thousands of dollars it would cost someone to purchase this data on their own. It lets the library forge influential partnerships within the community, in city government, perhaps with your local chamber of commerce. And in doing so, it elevates the community's profile. You know, you're contributing to kind of the bottom line of your community. So just a few points there. If you ever have any questions about demographics now, I mean, I'm just tip of the iceberg today, but I always love showing it off. So please feel free to contact me. And with that, I'll turn it back to Sydney.
Thank you. And yeah, that is a great resource for just all types of market research. I mean, you could use it even for supplementing activities or programs with students. You know, I took an entrepreneurship course. I remember it was when I was in like high school, and something like this would have been really cool to just play around with and evaluate the demographics of potential markets. So with that being said, as a time check, we've got about 5 more minutes. I'm going to jump into our ebook subscription. On the call, we also have Andrea Henderson, who's part of our ebooks team. So whenever I screw up, she's going to jump in and correct me. No, I'm just kidding, but she will. Any gaps, you know, that I may have in covering our Gale ebooks, she's going to jump in and kind of lay out some more information. So with that being said, our Best of Gale ebook subscription. So what is the Best of Gale ebook subscription? So it is a collection of over 350 titles. Is going to be our most used titles over the last 3 years. And it's updated every year. I want to say July 1st, June or July 1st. And it's built on top of our ebook platform. So it's not a different kind of thing. If you already have some Gale ebooks, it looks just like our existing Gale ebooks platform. It is our existing Gale ebooks platform. So why is that important? Building the collection that you can buy all at once. One of the big things in terms of my conversations with libraries about ebooks is, one, it's annoying to have to pick titles every year or whenever you want to update. 2, it is a little bit harder to budget for that because your updates could range in price year over year. So it would be good to have a resource that's going to be updated and also saves you a little bit of that hassle. And then 3 is going to be able to kind of give you something, a good starting point for your collection. That being said, you don't have to buy additional titles, but if you do want to, you're able to do that. Getting the ebook subscription does not lock you out from getting other ebooks. And it's actually going to be a bit easier to do that because there is no hosting fee. So traditionally, when you buy our ebooks, there would be a hosting fee, but that's rolled into the subscription. So that's not an issue that you have to deal with the ebook subscription. And this is just some features about our ebooks in general. You know, the 2 things I want to really zoom in on are unlimited simultaneous access and the mobile responsive design. So with unlimited simultaneous access, this is huge in terms of, 1, the availability of the books to all your patrons and supplementing your programming. So let's say you have a business program. I'll just stay on the theme of business, and you cite, one of your Gale ebooks, one of your business titles during the program. Immediately once you cite that, people could click on the link or go to your collection, and everyone that's in the program could access it. There's no holds, there's no checkout, so you don't have to buy multiple digital copies. Once you get the copy, it's yours, and as many people can access it as they want to. And then it's mobile responsive. So that's going to help with kind of the access issues. If you live in a community where not everyone has internet access or reliable connection, or maybe you've got someone who they couldn't get both internet and phone, so they just decided to get phone. Well, now they can access this, from their phone, and it'll scale its design so that it's readable there as well. And then you're going to be able to, just as an added one, you can share links as a library. I think that's a really cool feature if you're using social media, Facebook, Twitter. You know, I think every month is like a holiday or some promotional thing. So if you find some titles in our collection that you want to promote, you can definitely do that. So we have award-winning titles. These are just some examples from the previous year that are included inside of the subscription. So you've got LGBTQ history encyclopedia, disability experiences is actually a really cool one, and then business and cultural sports, which is going to give you a more, I guess, behind the scenes look at big time sports. So it talks about the economics of, you know, having a sports team in a certain area and things like that. The last thing to cover, I've heard this before. This has been a conversation. The short answer is no. Maybe people aren't going out and reading encyclopedias, but I don't think information is dead, and I don't think quality information is dead at all. Especially with these areas being really popular. I'm sure these have come up. And this is just a small selection of an example of what ebooks can cover. There's other things like business. There's other things, just, you know, history is a big one as well. So as long as there's some interest in quality, reputable information, especially around health and medicine. I mean, if you go online today with a paper cut, it'll say that you're going to die in 2 days. So maybe you want to, you know, check some more sober resources and really get an idea of what you're going through. And that's just one example among many. So we are a minute over, but that's pretty efficient as far as other Zoom calls I've been on go. So my name is Sydney Coleman. I'm the contact that you can reach out to in terms of any of these resources. If you want to set up a demo, if you're interested in maybe trialing out a couple of these, definitely reach out to me. I'm happy to help and get you any of the information you need. If I don't have the answer, I'm going to reach out to one of the people on this call and they'll tell me the right answer. So I hope everyone is going to have a good rest of the week. Thanks for hopping on.
We had one question about the ebooks.
Did we? I missed that.
Yeah. Sarah wants to know if all the ebooks are nonfiction.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Primarily, we're going to have nonfiction ebooks. Especially in the Gale ebook subscription, is going to be nonfiction. Andrea, correct me if I'm wrong. I think in our general ebooks, we have some like children's fiction. Like
exactly. In K-12, we do have some third-party partners where we do have some fictional kind of pieces, but even those are generally for like the K-5 space. Really, once we get to the middle school, high school, you know, up through any of our public library patrons, that will be, you know, nonfiction. Just a little bit of the fiction mixed in for the younger readers to kind of help out there, but still very, you know, topics that you would find in a reference kind of way, but just kind of told from a fictional perspective. So, yep.
Great.
Cool. So yeah, I'm good. If you're good, Jen, I don't know if you had anything else.
I didn't see any other questions in here, but yep, you can reach out to us, anyone at Gale or me at any time. And I'm going to stop the recording right now. So thanks